Hello everyone. I'm going to talk about an invention that I made called the Concatenator. And I've talked about this in other videos, but I would like to provide some guidance in this video about how to use my open source plugin to do this. So, as I explained in other videos, the Concatenator is a system to, in real time, come up with an approximation of some target using only sounds from a corpus. So if I were to try to approximate the Beatles' Let It Be using only moments from Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 in C minor, here's what it would sound like. And you can see there's tons of other examples on the site here. Maybe I'll just show one more real quick that I think is fun, which is this example. If you try to match beatboxing, and then you have a corpus of a bunch of drums, then it'll mix the drums up like this. So you can play the drums with your voice. Oh, one more example. I mean, this is kind of cool too. If you got a corpus of vocals, we've gotten a lot of mileage out of using vocals as this corpus. If you have a pink noise sweep, like this, then it'll pull out a nice, I would say more traditional, conventional, granular synthesis output here. So normally it tries to match the rhythm and the pitch of the target. In this case, it's just noise, so it goes back to kind of conventional granular synthesis where it's more random. So there's a lot you could do with this. There is a proprietary version of this, but also I have my open source version, and I want to show you how to use that. So if I pop over to my repository here, let me just download this code as a zip file. So I'll start from scratch where everybody else would start here. And okay, so I extracted that zip file, and here's the folder. At the base of the folder, let me open up Jupyter Notebook. So I'd encourage you to do this in the notebook. Unless you're familiar and comfortable with the command line, you can use the command line too. But I have a notebook here that explains the process a little more. So I'm going to go to, in the notebooks folder, this concatenator.ipynb. I'll run the first cell. This just loads everything that we need to load. And the second cell is where we get started making our own choices. And so you specify the audio sample rate and also a window length. So the concatenator works by processing things in windows. This is also the latency if you're going to do this real time. But actually, in the example I'm showing here, I'm just going to do it offline, although if you use the command line version, you can do it real time with a microphone or anything else, any other audio input that you have in your audio mixer. But here I'm just going to do it offline, assuming that you have the target predetermined. So you could be singing into your mic, but let's assume that we have the target predetermined. In that case, you know, the window length, it's not the latency, but it still has an effect on the pitch resolution. Because if you have a longer window length, you have better pitch resolution, especially at the lower octaves. But you might muddle the transients a little bit. Okay, so that's something to be aware of. This also supports stereo mode, so if you wanted to load audio in stereo mode, this could do that. And so I'm just going to run this cell. This uses the default example from Dryger. So the target is, this is exactly what provided with the code. It's bees buzzing. And then the corpus, or sorry, target is Beatles' Let It Be, and the corpus is bees buzzing. So let me go ahead and load that. And so that didn't take very long because this is actually pretty short. Corpus is only about a minute. Okay, so now what I got to do is define some parameters I want for how the synthesis should go here. So first of all, you know, I just specified this dictionary here, which I just copy over the window length and the sample rate. Now here you can control the frequency range that it's actually going to pick up on when it tries to match things in the target. If you make this frequency range bigger, the code will run a little bit slower. I think, but for now, 0 to 8,000 hertz is a pretty good range. But again, you can make that bigger if you want to really pick up on things in the high frequencies. The code will just run a little bit slower. Okay, but now here's where we get to the real meat of this here. So the parameters that you can pass along to the particle filter, or the brain behind this. The first one is what we call P, or polyphony. So it's the number of sounds that you can take from the corpus at the same time and mix together. And so a higher number, you'll have more voices, and it'll probably approximate the target better. But the code will be a little bit slower, and you might not want as many voices. You might only want a few voices. The second parameter here is called PD. And it's the probability that these particles that are tracking moments in the corpus, see how well they'll do. It's the probability that will continue along in the corpus going with the same grain. So this is pulling things from all over the corpus. But if this probability is higher, we're going to hear longer grains come out, even if it doesn't match the target as well. So if you really want this to sound like a bee still in this corpus, you would make this PD higher. But if you're okay chopping up the bees into smaller parts to sound more like the target, then this PD would be lower. The temperature here is controlling how much we actually care about matching the target. So that's another parameter that you can vary. If this is really low, then you care not very much about matching the target. You're more just going to go with what the grains that you've chosen and let them evolve a little bit. This parameter here you can probably leave fixed. I haven't actually experimented too much with this parameter, but this seems to be a good trade-off. It's related to how much time the brain has to try to figure out how well do these different hypotheses I have about the corpus fit. This is an important parameter though. So the number of particles that you choose, these are the number of hypotheses you have about where we should be in the corpus. The higher this is, the better quality results will be, but it'll go slower. So 1,000 is a really good number. But especially if you have a larger corpus, it's probably better to make this number higher. Okay, this parameter here, R, this controls something called repeated activations. Is if I just chose something from the corpus, I don't want to choose that again at the very next window. If you make this higher, it'll wait longer until you're allowed to choose that again. And so this is something that Dryger, as I said, the paper I followed up on, they use this to cut down on this jittery, stuttery effect. But you might want that stuttery effect, in which case you can just make this 0. And then finally, there's this parameter alpha, which controls amplitude fluctuation. The higher this is, the more consistent the output will be, so it won't have as many amplitude spikes popping out. But it might not match the target quite as well. For those who have some mathematical background, this is actually Tikhonov regularization. Okay. All right, and so then you could just run the code. Oh, actually, here's a straggling thing I have here. I don't need this anymore. In this notebook, we're not going to be using the microphone, so we're just going to do it all offline. So actually, I'm going to stop my video for a second because I have a choice here about I can actually use the GPU, and that'll make it much faster. But actually, probably I'm going to change this to NP, NumPy by default, on the CPU. That may go slower, but it'll work on more devices. But if you happen to have a GPU with CUDA enabled and you have Torch installed, change this to CUDA because it'll go a lot faster. All right, but I'll run it in CUDA for a second. I'll time it and I'll show you how long it takes, and then I'll switch it to NumPy and show you how long it takes. Okay, with CUDA, it took on my computer about 6 seconds, and you can see that that's great. That's more than real time because the clip that it was processing was 20 seconds long. So anyway, this was the bees to the Beatles. Sounds like this. So you can hear how it matches the pitch there and all that. Okay, so let me run this on NumPy now, and I will time it and tell you how long it takes. Okay, so this was a little bit slower. I had to run on the CPU. It was 18 seconds, so just kind of barely real time. And you might expect a little bit of stuttering if you're actually going to try to do it real time that way. If that happened and you were using this from the command line, using the mic, just reduce the number of particles and it'll go faster. But it might not be the same quality. Also, I should note, every time the result's a little bit different. So we get the same kind of character for the different parameters, but the exact moments of the corpus that are chosen at any given time are going to shift a little bit. So here's what we got this time. Okay, so I won't play the whole thing, but anyway, just to show you, it was kind of the same. But look, this is Dreiser's example. I want to show you an example that we came up with in the paper. So I have this other corpus, which is, let me just pull it up here. So I have lots of corpora here, but here, let me give a shortcut to this University of Iowa Woodwinds corpus. So let me go into the folder here and copy a shortcut to this. So this data set has a bunch of recordings of instruments in an anechoic chamber. And if I look at all these woodwinds here, I can see, let's pull up the bassoon. It's a nice sound there. So here are two of the different sounds. Let me just open that up real quick. Okay, it's opening up with Audacity here. So you can see this particular clip is going to be playing a chromatic scale on a bassoon. Okay, so I'll spare you the whole chromatic scale, but so there's lots of stuff like that here. So let me use that corpus instead, because this is really where the concatenator shines, because it can deal with corpora that are really long. So this this corpus here has about an hour and a half, well, actually almost 2 hours of sound. So if I go to the woodwinds here, if you'd like this, let me know. Actually, it's freely available online. I'll drop a link to the original repository at UIowa, but they don't make it the most convenient to download the whole thing. So if you want this, let me know. I'll send it to you, but I don't really have permissions to post it online. Okay, anyway, so let me load this. And it takes a little bit longer to load, but it's actually not too bad. And down here, let me change this to CUDA actually for myself. Although you might have to run in NumPy. But actually, let me leave my video on for a second just to see. It might start jittering a little bit, but let me start here. Actually, before it really gets started with the particle filter, it does have to compute a bunch of features on the corpus, and this step will take a little bit longer for the corpus. If you're doing it real time, it would do this first before you really started recording. Okay, but now it's going, and I might be jittering because it's using my GPU. Okay, so it finished. And it went actually just as fast as it did before. It just had to spend more time processing the corpus up front. So you can see that it still only took about 6.5 seconds. So let's listen to the result here. So yeah, it's definitely glitchy, but I think it's so cool that you can take a corpus that's almost 2 hours of woodwinds and just like play them with basically the right notes. One thing you might have noticed about this is at the low end, the pitches aren't so accurate, and again that's because the window length that determines the pitch accuracy. So and this is probably a better example where we could use a longer window length because the tempo is pretty slow. So we don't have these like fast transients that we need to match. So I'll run this again. I'll spare you the computation time, but I'll run this again and then we'll listen to see how different the result sounds. Okay, so here's the result. I haven't listened to it yet. Let's hear. Okay, so exactly as I said, you hear the pitch is much better at the lower range. So yeah, you'll definitely want to play with the window length. You want to play with certainly PD, how long you want the grains to be. You may play with the temperature a little bit, and if your computer's fast enough, you may increase the number of particles that you're using to get better results. So yeah, I would encourage you to play around with this. Let me know what you do. I would love to hear your examples. I've already heard some pretty wild stuff from people out there, and I have an assignment actually that my students are doing right now in my music class, where they're implementing this themselves. I had them implement kind of a simpler version of this that ends up being a lot slower, but still kind of accomplishes the same thing. And my students have had some pretty crazy ideas too. So I'll drop a link to this in the description too. If you're curious a little bit more about the math behind this, you might actually want to do this assignment yourself. So anyway, enjoy that. I'm happy to put my invention out into the world, and let me know what you do with it.